When when I make a living like this, I sometimes receive various criticism and comments. After all, it must be understood that the anti-cultural theorists who made that the fear of the invisible only makes the invisible visible occupying a major force. However, the fact that what we see is not everything is one of the abilities that human beings can instinctively realize. This horrible story was posted by an old friend of mine, Jeez, who has been involved in the production of TV programs for a long time in his hometown of Nagano. It was a time when the bubble economy more than 20 years ago was at its peak, and the world was showing a glamorous situation that reflected the madness of Japan. The crazy joke of producing and making anything that can be sold as long as you make things has exploded into a limit-free world due to the inexhaustible ideas and scale of content production. A heavy program broadcast by a local TV station in Nagano Prefecture to examine the occult led to a hellish experiences triggered by an incident. It has become an existential incident for the TV station itself. I would like to introduce it here so that it can be passed on to future generations. It was an event that made me disgusted to know that the illusion that everything can be done. If it is interesting, is something that should be avoided with self admonishment. Chief, what do you think of this proposal? Was that wriggling mask? Who? It is funny. We also have to raise the numbers in the summer slot. So I think I'll try to get on with the command, the theme. But either way, I think it would be meaningless if it didn't become a hit. The castle house travelogue slept more than I expected during this time, so I have to do my best this time. The wood to cut in the forest is so good. The sponsors are noisy. Most of the late night shots in rural areas are cold and deceptive. Oi, oi, oi. Be careful with your word. Cheating aside, is not supposed to be deceitful, so all the shows are serious. So what is the setup up to this point? The so-called wriggling mask is about mysterious mask dedicated to the shrine that wanders along at night. Mask? There's something creepy about it. And what kind of side is it? It's a no mask. A no mask that was dedicated from Muromachi, but the priest doesn't know much about it. It's a mystery. This kind of story seems to be all over Japan. Is it possible to go on the air? Yes, I'm in the middle of casting right now, but it seems that all but the facilitator MC will be filled. What will MC do? Let's use local talent from Nagano Prefecture, which seems to be more convenient. G, who was assigned to play a part in the production of this program as a broadcast writer, felt a great deal of pressure. The fact that one composition is directly related to the success or failure of the program is something that cannot be avoided as a number. A local TV personality from Nagano Prefecture was a former salesman who once had a billboard program in Tokyo and is currently engaged in nature conservation activities while publishing columns and criticism in local newspapers. The cast was formed with this A as MC. The three idols are the three members of the local idol group no Zako Girl in Nagano. All of them are 18-year-old high school girls who attended prefectural high school. This group, MCs A and B, a physics medium in his 70s, were cast. The five of them performed an exorcism ceremony at a certain temple in the prefecture and headed to the site. The production of the program involved more people than the average viewer can imagine. The number of people called the production staff is roughly 20 people, depending on the size of the budget. The location crew, including myself, consisted of an assistant producer called an AP, who was responsible for realizing the producer's intention to the fullest, and the director and an assistant director who handled the lighting, sound, and distribution of the program. The name of the program this time, Shinshu Night Idol Exploration Travel Log. It is a program maybe such a large number of staff. The group chartered a microbus to the Al Shrine, where the shooting took place, and were greatly disturbed by the events on the train. H, one of the idle high school students, has a high fever and is drooling. It was said that H's experience was that he was suddenly attacked by a strong chill just before he got on the bus from Shinshu Nagano TV in Matsumoto and started running. B, a veteran physics medium who had been concerned about his physical condition from the beginning, also complained that his right leg was abnormally swollen and swollen. Up to this point, I thought it was a common story and a regular development that I always see on TV. The aim of muddying the tea with an abstract production of something strange or strange things in the picture should be nearly discerning if you are discerning viewer. However, it is true that H's complexion is pale and he is clearly not feeling well. Her lips are bright blue and she has a high fever and she is sweating profusely from her forehead to her ears. B. The physics medium is also desperately rubbing that his right leg is completely paralyzed, but this time the right whole half of his face is also swollen as soon as he sees it. Mr. Mr. B is funny. He says his chest is painful. Hey, hey, are you okay? It's almost time for the sight. Is there any change? K, a female AD, was the first to detect the abnormality of physics medium B and complained to the crew. Director S, who is also a representative of young employees, made a rather inconsiderate remarks to the two performers who clearly complained of poor health. I didn't know if it was the pressure beyond the title of director or if I was confused about how to deal with the chaos of the scene. But I was quite distraught. Mr. E, for the time being. Let's see how it goes. Because we can come this far and make it to Okura. One of the program staff members brought E, a former nurse who is in charge of the relief team, and it was very reassuring to see her handle the rescue of the two people without hesitation like a veteran nurse. I had a guess that he was in his late 30s, but the calm atmosphere and the way he handled the first aid from the first aid set in a neat manner and the professional crisis response were pleasant to watch. There was a lull between the two of them, and for a time they seemed to have calmed down. The film crew hurried ahead of their destination despite such a big stumbling block, since the route from the starting point to the shrine at the site was deep through the mountain road. The damp air in the car was heavy, as if you were also a forest practitioner. Even on the road, where there would normally be constant chatting, no one talked about anything anymore like a wake. When I arrived at our shrine, the clock pointed to 12 o'clock. We left the site at 7 o'clock in the morning, so it took 5 hours. Funny, in terms of distance, it should be possible to get there in 2 hours, but it takes too long. I wondered if the psychological confusion or fear was causing the concept of time to go awry, and although the cause was unknown, I thought it was an event that we had to be vigilant. Our shrine was a place that was famous as one of the most occult spots in the prefecture. Originally, it was a shrine to pray for the safety of the family, no illness and disaster, and a long and healthy life. But at the end of the Edo period, when the shogunate, the wife dedicated the prayer festival with intention of establishing a son of the blessed disaster. The benefit was received by the shogun family. Since then, the number of people who visit the temple has increased, mainly for family-related problems, and now it has become mainly worshipped by women who have taken refuge in the temple to expand the so-called tradition. Our women who are deeply worried about not being able to have children. It has known why, but since then, occult stories related to children have become legends and have continued to spread various rumors. Among them, the unusual mask, which is the main purpose of this time, has come to have a strange history by far. There have been many stories about the people who touched the mask going crazy, and how the very rich people went bankrupt instantly. As for the origin of the mask, there is a rumor that it was picked up by a sorcerer to cure a strange disease that was prevalent in the shogun family of later generations. But there is no definitive theory. The verification of the rumor that the mask, which is considered to be unmistakably abnormal, wanders in the darkness by itself becomes the cause of this mission. Speaking of no masks, it is common to use them for no entertainment, but it is not uncommon for them to be used for some festivals and grand shrines. As the ancient culture of Japan has repeatedly flourished, people's thoughts and wishes for Shinto rituals have been brought together in Bugaku, which is said to have been introduced from China in the 30th century. The ancient people of Japan had a history of being close to the Zagaku culture, which is the foundation of their arts through dances and performances and sublimating their hearts by warding off evil spirits. In the 20th century, 21st century, we feel that the unfamiliar event of no is only recognized as a reality that can be found on some distant planet. The negative connotation of disregarding the absence of facial expression as no mask is almost always encouraged in today's world where communication is scarce. It can be said that the laborious work of using masks without facial expressions and putting one's soul into it only with imagination and body behavior is a very delicate library drama in which only the performance of the performer determines its trend. The dance unique to Japan, which was once enjoyed by the world rose over the Sengoku period to fuel the soul of killing, is no longer seen in modern times. This is due to the drastic decline in domestic demand due to the fact that the engineers who make the mask and the Japan people who no longer need the masks themselves and their requisition by the foreign collectors and collectors. Now there were some curiosities that had become semi antiquous left in each temple. Speaking of no masks, they are characterized by their expressionless and eerie appearance. It looks like it's dangerous, and the face that takes away the soul of this person gives a strong impression that you can't forget once you see it. There are countless masks, but what kind of words will you run from the mask you will face in the future? The abnormal cold and humidity of the outside air mercilessly robs the body of its body temperature. All the staff packed the bath in the parking lot with asphalt that had been hollowed out of a part of the mountain and walked down the wooden stairs towards the shrine. The idol edge also seems to be relieved that the attendant E is by his side and cares about him, and he seems to be quite calm. His complexion was as pale as ever, but he seemed to fully understand that it was his job to go to the castle shrine on top of the mountain. B, a physic medium, had to wait on the bus because the swelling on his face and legs did not go away. Considering his age and physical condition, it may not be unreasonable. Director S gets out of the bus and contacts another physic medium, Q, who was the backup. It seems that this was expected to some extent, and it seems that they were preparing a reserve personnel. In this way, while allowing for some schedule changes, it was carried out for the filming of the occult program. Although anxiety of the people involved has increased somewhat, it can be seen that the performer and crew have more leeway in the state that interested prevailed. There was small interest that everyone wanted to see the abominable no mask. The reason why they climbed the narrow plank stair in a vertical line like group climber was because the width of the road was extremely narrow. Transporting photographic equipment and supplies on foot means that the physical burden increases. The width of the stairs widened from the middle, and the width of the road widened to nearly 2 meters. It became somewhat easier to climb because the plank floor at the foot was changed to a reinforcing step with iron plate driven in, but the top was not visible due to the thick fog that filled the area. The distance to the shrine was 450 meters, but the fact that it looked like a portal to the underworld that stretched far into the sky was a main station of anticipation of the unseen horrors that we were about to encounter. As I was climbing to the top while dragging my heavy body, someone appeared who took an unexpected action. H, who had been showing an unusual change when he went more than halfway up the stairs and almost arrived at the shrine, behaved strangely again. No, 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 it's hanging. When the sun rises, you may die. I need help. Hey, H, I can't if you go alone. Idle H, who had been in a lull after leaving the bus, suddenly started running and climbing the stair as if possessed by something. The reaction is so great that no one can stop the action without being able to stop anything. H began to climb the stairs like a rabbit at such a high speed that no one could follow him. What happened to the girl who had been ener- energetic and impatient until now? At such a time, Mr. Handy should have followed him and taken a scoop-like video, but the staff behind him, who were away from the idol, were about surrounded by surprise and hesitation. As the director is venting her frustration and venting her anger on you, The make-up person who was in charge of the costume for the high school girl group. The two remaining high school girls shook their heads with tears in their eyes, but were forced to move on to achieve their true goal of filming. Yes, this was not hobby, our sideshow, but responsibility as a job with a large budget and expenses. Realizing that they couldn't back down, everyone developed a strange obsession to finish this project to the end. Perhaps because of this, the speed of progress becomes faster and the upward steps becomes more certain. The march is getting stronger, as if to say that they are encountering such an omi- ominous situation because of unnecessary distractions. Less than 30 minutes from that place, the area near the top came into view. Before you know it, the stairs turned into rough cobblestones, cre- creating an atmosphere for going up to the shrine. Stone walls, stuck with stone tools, appear on both sides, bracing the people who rise to the top. Directly in front of the top of the mountain, the ridgeline of the summit is shaped by large rocks, and the other side is completely invisible. The stone road curved left at a right angle and led further up. As soon as they turned the corner, they were greeted by a crimson dyed shrine with a small precinct. Normally, there should have been a small Shinto torii gate in the front. Oh, the torii gates on both sides of the foreground have collapsed from the roots. No, the way they were lost in strange, as if they were up, uprooted by some great force. As the group dived into the precincts, a while muttering, "Oh my God!" they entered a large garden that seemed to have been hollowed out of the top of the mountain, and at the far end of it was the shrine hall, which was the headquarters. The majesty of the shrine was not glittering but profound, but the appearance of the history was powerful and incomparable. It is old, but it does not feel fragile. which may be because the spiritual power envelopes that entire shrine. There was no sign of people at the entrance of the shrine, and only the wooden statue of Kanzeon Buddha Sattva enshrined in the back of the hall was brilliantly illuminated by the lights in the hall. Red and white banners hang on both sides of the back of the shrine, and an ancient Japan god is happy to appease the anger of the gods. Director is begging the people inside to say hello to inform him of the arrival of the location. I'm sorry if anyone is from TV Shinshu. What Hugh? I can't no good. If you are going to do it, this is the last time. I did it fast. Ha 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 ha. When the director is, was greeting his arrival, his idol F suddenly walked into the shrine as if he was being urged by something. The fact that she negative effect of using a mentally and physically unstable cast of high school girls erupted in such a scene was proof that this project had such a tight line. The concept of fear plots the collapse of the whole by preying on the vulnerable of the mind in order. Invisible fear and confusion were in danger of being strapped to creativity. In response to the unusual situation of girls disappearing one by one, you of Make, who proposed the immediate withdrawal of the location, threw a protest glance at the production team, who had completely lost control of the scene. Isn't this different from I Can't Give Up Anymore? Mr. G, did you do a preview? No, for the time being, I have permission, but permission is different. Did you check if this place was safe? I wonder if I'm from the Kansai area, but I couldn't find the words to reply because I was dismayed by use and characteristic Kansai dialect. It's true that the location scouting group had been working behind the scenes to set up today's arrangements, but I don't know if they had anticipated all these irregularities on the day. Even though it was a safety measure, The only way we could do it was a very general copying mechanism. What's wrong with that? Are you from the TV station? I've been waiting for you for a long time. So let me show you to the back. When all the location staff were standing, a man suddenly appeared from behind. An old man dressed in white and white hair, who seemed to have lost his mind appeared. He was as thin as if he had only bones and skin, but only his eyes had a glare and a dark glow. Since he said that he would guide him, it must be the age of the god. But the aura that emanated from it emitted, emitted a negative energy that sucked out the soul. The place where we were was a place of worship, a large money box in the foreground, and a large hall with small wooden steps on the both sleeves, and an inner worship hall in the back. An idol that would become a divine body was enshrined on the throne in front of us, and we were welcomed. The identity of the idol was unknown, but it was thought to be an Oriental deity. The metamorphosis of the wood carving is a statue similar to an artifact, and only the eyes are strangely developed. Sitting here is the side engineering plastic god, the god of tyrant. The god of engineering is the guardian god of power and life, and is the chief guardian of a tribe in northern Taiwan. Here, this god body is no longer able to be worshipped, but whereabouts of the mask that is covered are unknown, so the face is exposed in this way. Do you usually wear a mask? Well, the mask has been gone for the past few months, and we are also having a hard time. Why don't you treat it as a case? Recently, young people who have not matured mentally have behaved badly, so there may be such a thing. I thought it was indeed a divine body that gave off a tremendous evil spirit. His expression is so grim that you want to swear that you will never see it again, and the surface of his face is densely engraved with red and black angry lines. If there is negative and positive energy, it emits the power of the negative aura in full force. In other words, the impact is so great that the telekinesis is trapped in this hole. You are right. This place is a shrine that collects positive and negative energy, especially negative energy, and worship this god as a festival and votive deity. G was beginning to feel regret for using this shrine as a location target. I never thought that the irregular setting of dealing with the strange gods of Southeast Asia would be located deep in the mountains of Japan. Moreover, the idea of trapping now she seems to deviate from the purpose of the local deity. That alone may be a testament to the deep passion of the Japan people. G decided that it was dangerous to stay in such a place for a long time. I have to go down the mountain right away. He advised us to go down the mountain and suggested that they immediately stop filming and protect everyone. If we delved any further, we were afraid that we would not be able to go home. Yes, I can't control it anymore. So let's go down the mountain right away. I'm sorry, but I can't continue. Mr. G, that's right. But what about H and F? Stupid bastard. Of course. Please contact the police immediately and search for them. With the disgusting af- after as the people involved in the show decided to leave the mountain. The shrine location, which was expected to explode based on the topic of wriggling mask, also encountered a situation where the essential mask was missing. The unprecedented event of not being able to cover the main subject will end with a strong ending. When all the staff went down the mountain, B, a physic medium, died on the bus. He was lying on his back next to the back seat of the bus with his chest pressed down with an expression of anguish and blowing pink bubbles. This wasn't the only situation. Q, a physic medium who had been hired as a backup, also slipped and died when he crashed into a guardrail while driving in the mountains. It was said that the body would be pulled up from now on, but it would take a lot of time because there was a deep valley below. Only 3 days after the occasion, shooting was cancelled. AD Kay came to G's desk with a tremendous sword curtain. Mr. G, H and F were found at the shrine. What? War? Where? H was clinging to a large pillar in the soffit. F, who was found in the inner temple, continued to make a strange noise as if possessed by a beast all night. Life is safe? Is it safe? Yes, but I was quite weak, and the psychological damage was tremendous. That's right, I guess so. By the way, the third W? She has been missing since that incident, and her whereabouts are still unknown. G deeply regretted that he dared to do an occult location shoot with a half-heated mindset. A strange and incomprehensible phenomenon is like a test of the human mind. Since then, G has quit his job at the TV station and continues to clean up the mountain with local residents. This activity has become his life's work to this day. End.